Welcome to the last chapter, 13. So lucky. Social and personal development in middle childhood. Remember Erik Erikson and his identity development? Well, now we're in the industry versus inferiority stage. According to Erikson, the period from ages 6 through 12 is characterized by a focus on efforts to attain competence in meeting the challenge presented by parents, peers, school, and the other complexities of the modern world. This is the stage of academics. Success in the industry versus inferiority stage. If you're developed healthily, you have feelings of mastery and proficiency, a growing sense of competence. However, if you have difficulties in this stage, you feel like a failure and inadequate. Now, there's a quest for self-understanding during middle childhood. There's a shift in focus from external characteristics to internal psychological traits. It's less simplistic, more complex self-views. Personal and academic spheres of self-concept become increasingly important. And children are comparing themselves to each other. The desire to evaluate one's own behaviors, abilities, expertise, and opinions, comparing those to others. Now, the social reality is understanding that is derived in how others feel, act, and view the world. There's not always objectivity in the head of the child with regards to how they're perceived and how they perceive others. With regards to downward social comparison, children feel better when there's someone of lesser competence than they. Having a big fish in a little pond, which we will get into later, also helps. It explains why children in low achieving schools who are capable have a better self-esteem than those who are capable in high achieving schools. Big fish, little pond. We can take a look at this chart. I welcome you to take a look at it. Academic, social, emotional, and physical components of the development of self. Self-esteem. Self-esteem is the perception that you have of what others think of you. It develops in important ways during middle childhood, and as they progress into the middle school years, however, middle childhood years, their self-esteem is higher in some areas and lower in others. Generally, overall self-esteem increases during middle childhood. However, there's a brief decline around 12. Children with chronically low self-esteem may become enmeshed in a cycle of failure that grows difficult to break. Parents can help break the cycle of failure by promoting their children's self-esteem. Here is an interesting chart depicting the cycle of failure and the cycle of success. Go to the PowerPoint and take a look at this. Race and self-esteem. Although white children initially show higher self-esteem than black children begin to show slightly higher self-esteem than whites around 11. The differences in self-esteem among members of different ethnic groups have seemingly narrowed. So this conversation is not as important as it once was. Thank goodness. One explanation for the complex relationship between self-esteem and minority group status comes from the social identity theory, and that's a theory that predicts certain group intergroup behaviors on the basis of perceived status, legitimacy, and permeability of the group's environment. With regards to friendships and communication and internet interaction skills, they develop during this stage, and there are some stages I want you to know. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3. Take a look at this in the PowerPoint. So, popularity. More popular children hang around with more popular children. Less popular children hang around with children who are less popular. Social competence is the collection of social skills that permit individuals to perform successfully in social settings. Although generally popular children are frequently open, cooperative, but that doesn't mean that those who are unpopular cannot learn these skills. And they are viewed as cool and tough by their peers and are often remarkably popular. Social problem solving is the use of strategies for solving social conflicts in ways that are both satisfactory to oneself and others. Popular children are better at interpreting the meaning of others' behavior accurately. Unpopular children, they may become victims of learned helplessness. We know that in the schoolyard and on the internet, we're hearing in the news and anecdotally, we're hearing that there's a lot of bullying going on, and there's great measures being taken to mitigate, lessen bullying in the schoolyard and also on the net. Now, families are changing. Here's a concept for you. Co-regulation is the period in which parents and children jointly control the child's behavior. Children at this age are starting to chip away at parents' absolute control over them, if I may put it this way. They're starting to negotiate more freedom, more autonomy, co-regulation. Family life, time spent with parents, influences of brothers and sisters, and the rivalry that is going on between brothers and sisters. You know, sibling rivalry is not as great if the spacing of children is 4 years or more. When it's less than 4 years or more and the same gender, the sibling rivalry is very high. So both parents work outside the house. How do children fare? It seems like most everybody works outside the house, right? They fare quite well. The good adjustment of children whose mothers and fathers both work relates to the psychological adjustments of the parents, particularly the psychological adjustment of the mother. Home alone. We used to call these latchkey kids. Not anymore. We haven't found that there is any real significant negativity to children who care for themselves. Self-care children is a more positive term. These are the kids who let themselves in, and sometimes they become very independent and they fare quite well. Divorce. At any age, this is tragic. But the short-term consequences of divorce can be quite difficult. The long-term consequences, it depends on the type of divorce, age of the child. But some studies have found that 18 months to 2 years later, most children return to normal. However, there is evidence from fallout of divorce lingers. Single-parent families. Almost 1 in 4 children under the age of 18 live with only one parent. And, you know, if you're poor, that's a problem. If you're rich, maybe not a problem. But most single parents that are facing challenges are poor children. Poor parents. And look at the increase. Now, this is the increase in poverty, for sure. It's also an increase in divorce and affluent people who decide that they're not going to get married. There's a whole myriad of reasons for this increase, but it should be noted that overall, a child from a single parent household faces many more challenges than one when the 2 biological parents are intact. Multi-generational families. This is really can be very positive, but it could also be negative because it also can cause for conflicts. Blended families. Here's 2 families with children. Mom and dad both have a family, and they come together as one. Once again, there's role ambiguity. I used to be in this family. Now I'm in this blended family. Not all children adjust well. Some do, some don't. An increasingly number of gay and lesbian parents are getting married. Georgia is not yet has not yet legalized marriage, but everything is pointing that will happen. Now, there's no difference in the outcome of a child in a gay and lesbian household or a straight a heterosexual one as well. So that concludes Chapter 13.